Which edition of the Diplomacy board game is the best physical copy to own? The answer is complicated because they all boast different features that make them desirable. So today we're looking at 3 editions of the game to find the best components and to assemble the ultimate version of Diplomacy. I'm Flash, and this is Legendary Tactics. When I looked at my original 1976 copy of Diplomacy on the shelf, it felt like it wasn't the ideal version of the game to own or play. Let's face it, the board is so-so, the components are minimalist, and the box art is subpar. While there might be a little bit of street cred to say that you bought it first, pulling out this retro version of the game doesn't impress much. Filming it for our channel has also left me feeling a little bit like I could do better. So, as I make this video, we have 40 Diplomacy videos on our channel, and if you haven't already subscribed, stab the sub button and like the video if you want to help our channel out. So this Diplomacy adventure began as I bought an unpunched brand new copy of the Avalon Hill Big Box edition of the game from 1999 for 50 Canadian dollars. If I compare that with its current Amazon price of 200, it's a pretty good steal. It was the nicest looking copy of the game that I could find, and I had to work up the courage to unbox it because it was all factory sealed, knowing I was reducing its value, but rationalizing that a game is practically pointless to own if it's still unplayable in the original packaging. And let's face it, people who buy games as an investment are rarely likely to ever cash in on those investments. If I'm wrong about this, then let me know in the comments, but as I laid out all of the components, I still felt like my search was incomplete. Looking at the board and the tokens, I felt like this version just didn't cut it for me. So the search continued. I went hunting for an affordable copy of the most recent version from 2008 on the web, and I didn't need to go far to find a brand new copy just around the corner for $25. So once again, I got all of the components out and began to compare the versions of this game, feeling slightly guilty now that I had 3 copies of this game. It was now time to amalgamate the best parts of each game and to create the ultimate physical copy of Diplomacy. To begin, I think the most important decision and the most essential element of the game is the Gameboard. This is the board from 1976. What I don't love about it is the use of color and how the browns, yellows, and greens don't draw clear divisions between territories. While it feels somewhat topographical, it just doesn't impress me aesthetically. The 1999 board changes the overall look, but still emphasizes oranges and yellows with much deeper blues for the water. But for some reason, Russia really stands out as separate on this board, and I don't really like that. Finally, we have the 2008 board, and I love the look of this board. It's classy. Each nation is clearly delineated. The font is gorgeous, and the coloring is really rich. Overall, this is an easy win for me on the best board. Let me know if you disagree on these picks, and why or why not. The next most important feature for me are the naval and army units. The 1976 version uses 3D plastic tokens that use stars for armies and anchors for navies. While this works thematically, I'm not as fond of using symbolic representations for the units. The 1999 edition really took these to the next level with the metal miniatures that look like battleships and cannons, and both of these are inspired directly from Monopoly, which actually used the pieces from a Parker Brothers game called Conflict before that. And both of these pieces were retired from Monopoly. I guess maybe heavy artillery just doesn't belong in the cutthroat game of Monopoly. But wow, they look really, really great in this edition, and they feel great in your hands. I have to say that after handling the 1999 metal minis, the flat cardboard in the 2008 game are very underwhelming. Not only are the battleships much too large for many of the spaces, but they just feel cheap. So for me, the win goes to 1999. In the physical game, you also need tokens to indicate which player holds which territory. The 1976 version didn't include any. I guess they didn't foresee that. The 1999 edition uses images such as St. Andrew's Cross, which are the ensign of the Russian Navy, but they don't really scream, "I'm Russia," to me. They look more like Scotland. The 2008 tokens are poorly designed. France, Russia, and Germany are almost indistinguishable when you put them out on the game board. For these tokens, functionality overrules their appearance for me, so I had to go with an assortment of tokens from various editions, because no single version really got these right. We also need to compare the rulebooks, and predictably the 1976 rulebook is pretty dull, text-heavy, and not really worthy of extended discussion here. They're colorless and dense with no images to illustrate maneuvers. On the bright side, they're only 11 pages long. While the 1999 edition has improved its graphic design and how it illustrates the game, I really don't love the overall look, and I'm, again, left really underwhelmed. But from the moment I look at the cover on the 2008 version, I love it. Rules are clear, images are clean, and overall it's a much more positive experience to learn this game. You can tell they've really put a lot of thought into the graphic design. The penultimate category to compare are the conference maps. These are used so that players can plan their orders without staring in an obvious way at the game board for all to see. They also allow for some doodling to plan out various options. Here's our 1976 map, which looks a little muddled to me. Now the 1999 map, which is much clearer, but pretty simple. And finally, the 2008 edition, which is also clear, but it adds that sort of russet color for some reason. Perhaps it's meant to look weathered. Which one do you prefer? I think for me, this comes down to taste. So are you a person who likes the more practical plain version or the artistic newer rendering? If I'm giving these to players, I would choose the 2008 edition because I think they look nicer and they're equally functional. Of course, the final consideration is which box is the best. The retro box has its appeal, while the 1999 box art doesn't render me speechless. It is really functional in how it stores the miniatures. The 2008 edition looks nice, but it's a little bit undersized for my tastes. Maybe if you live in an apartment, it might be the better option for that reason alone, but for me, the best box is the 1999 edition. For future videos, I'll be shooting with this new Ultimate Edition of the game that blends all of the best components. And from what I could find, there have been 39 different editions of this game, including notable editions such as the original self-published Alan Calamer's edition from 1959, Gibson's editions, the Waddington's edition in 1971, Avalon Hill's Deluxe edition 1992, and many more. But of all these editions, I think I've gotten the best components together here. I've shown you my ultimate aggregation of components, but if you think you've got a better component or if you think I chose wrong, please let me know in the comments. Stab you later, and thanks so much for your time.